I just want to pay special tribute to a person who I believe is really a national hero, and that's Mr. Yusuf Abramjee. You know, we cannot say enough about Yusuf. He is like a tornado, you know, but the difference between Yusuf and a tornado is that a tornado destroys, but Yusuf builds. He doesn't destroy.
Starting out as a journalist, Yusuf Abramjee has harnessed his talents to fuel a culture of volunteerism through both Crimeline and Lead SA.
So Yusuf, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Kabelo. Nice seeing you.
We meet in a different setting again.
We do.
Tell me, Yusuf, you know, Danny K calls you a tornado. How do you find time for Crimeline, for Shout, and for Lead SA?
Well, I think it's important to keep a balance. You know, South Africa's got a lot of work. We have to roll up our sleeves. And the big question is, how do we become active citizens? How can we as individuals contribute to a better South Africa, a safer South Africa, an active South Africa? And that is why it's up to every individual to play their part. And what do you do to play your part is the big question. And I think keeping the balance, Kabelo, is important.
It's important to make time for the things that matter to you, I guess.
Indeed. In fact, just today I read a very interesting quote by Madiba, who said that something to the effect about when you put back and help other people, don't expect anything in return. And I think that should be the philosophy. It should become a way of life. How do we and how can we help other people?
Let's go to post-1994. Crime is on the rise in our country. Your career as a journalist is burgeoning. Fast forward to now, when you've put behind bars money launderers, fraudsters, and people who are just, you know, getting up to mischief. Is this something you were passionate about, or your career in journalism led you there?
Well, I think my career in journalism played a big role. I started off as a young reporter in Pretoria, became a crime reporter, crime editor, because crime at the time was a big concern, which, by the way, it still is, if not bigger. So I have a passion about creating a safer South Africa. And yes, luckily I haven't put people behind bars. Luckily the authorities have. But that should be our philosophy, to say, what do I as an ordinary South African do to create a safer South Africa? I mean, I take the Shout Foundation, where you and I were one of the founding members, together with Danny K. And again, the idea was to create a safer South Africa, to create awareness, to create education, and to ask and to spur South Africans on, to ask them, what do we as individuals do to create a better South Africa?
Yusuf, through our work at Shout SA, I've had a personal experience of how you've played an integral part in curbing the crime pandemic in our country. But you're no stranger to having been affected to crime yourself. Can you tell us about that?
Well, falling victim to crime, many South Africans fall victim to crime, and whether it's themselves or their family members, their friends, their colleagues. We know that crime raises its ugly head almost by the minute. We know how many people get murdered, robbed, raped, almost by the hour. Last year in November, my family and I fell victim to armed robbers at our house outside Pretoria. The robbers came in, demanded my the car's key. They opened fire, a shootout ensued, and luckily 2 days later they were arrested.
It all started one morning when we said, why don't we come out and stand united behind Bafana? And then this sort of thing happens. Even my little dog Alex has come along. Chaos, beautiful.
Let's talk Lead SA. Now, Lead SA has captured the imaginations of South Africans at large. Why did you feel that there was a need for a campaign like this?
Well, we wanted to do something to create a better South Africa. It was long before the 2010 FIFA World Cup that we hosted in South Africa. And we did a lot of planning, a lot of thinking to create a movement where we can create a better South Africa. The 2010 World Cup came. We know that a few days before the World Cup, I was asked by SAFA, together with some South Africans, to create some hype. We hosted a parade for Bafana, which was one of the biggest parades ever staged in the history of South African sport. Tens of thousands of people came out of their offices, of their homes, and those images went around the world. When the World Cup was over, South Africans were feeling down. We were all depressed. The visitors all left. And in August 2010, we launched Lead South Africa as a partnership with an independent group of newspapers. And the Lead South Africa philosophy is to say, how do you become an active citizen?
The success of Lead SA has seen Yusuf honored and recognized for his commitment to unifying the country.
The Order of the Baobab in silver is awarded to Yusuf Abramjee for his excellent contribution to the field of community development through Lead SA.
Yusuf, you received a myriad of community service awards, including the National Order of Baobab in 2013. Today, you are also going to be speaking at the graduation ceremony for the GetOn Skills Development. How important is it for us, or is it important for us to instill a reward culture for people who do good?
No, I don't think so. Obviously, we at Lead South Africa, we normally have the hero of the month, the youth hero, which has become very, very popular. And I think very often awards and recognitions do go a long way to spur people on to become even better citizens, but it shouldn't be the norm. I firmly believe that community service should become the rule and not the exception. When we go out in our daily lives, ask yourself the question, what can I do to make somebody smile today? What can I do to improve the quality of life of ordinary South Africans?
Yusuf, this is just a small token of our appreciation from us at Play Your Part. Just like to say thank you for playing your part and continue doing so.
Thank you very much, Kabelo. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Volunteerism is an undervalued and much needed vocation in our country, and it only takes a moment of your time to get involved. Volunteers aren't chosen or discovered. There are people like you and me with the will to make a difference.